What's good, everybody? It's your boy Omani the Great here, aka Hyuga, back at it again with another video. And today we are reacting to the bird tier list from TierZoo, man. But before we get to the video, you guys already know what to do. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below for what you want to see me react to for more amazing content, man. And I greatly appreciate the support. Without further ado, man, me personally, I probably would either want to be a Falcon or I would say eagle, man, because I don't know why lately these two birds are the top mentioned in the world. So you know what, I'd rather be one of those two. But let's see, man, let's get to the video and see what are the toppest of the tier birds. There we go.
Birds are one of the most popular playable classes in the game, with a huge number of successful builds and tons of cool strategies. However, some of these strategies have clearly been more successful than others. So today we'll be going over the bird tier list to see which—
What does he expect to gain? I'm confused. Is he just that bird stole something from him? Or I don't know, man, because clearly your attacks are doing no damage, my brother.
Bird ranks highest.
He's like, huh?
But before we get into looking at specific bird builds, let's do an overview of the basic attributes and special abilities the bird faction
y'all got bullied by a rat, bro? That's tough.
Has access to.
I bet you they won't do that to an
as
eagle,
a quick
though.
rundown of the history of the bird faction. So birds are one of the newer factions in the game, joining the game's roster during the latter part of the Mesozoic expansion. They began as an offshoot of the dinosaur faction that was specifically adapted to arboreal gameplay, but when the devs dropped the Cenozoic balance patch, these small avians were the only dinosaurs not to be hit by the banhammer. Fast forward to today's meta, and birds are one of the most successful factions in the game, owing this success to forward to today's meta, and birds—
No way. Your big body is afraid of a tiny bird, bro? Okay, he's not a tiny bird compared to human size, but come on, man. You could literally swipe one time, permanently you put that boy to rest. But hey,
are one of the most successful factions in the game, owing this success to a handful of powerful, unique abilities, in addition to the obvious flying attribute. First of which is their beak. Now, beaks were not an entirely new ability for the reptile player base, but birds went far deeper into the beak skill tree than most dinosaurs ever had, with many bird players opting for extremely specialized beaks to give them an edge in specific scenarios. However, even the basic beak offers plenty of advantages. While their lack of teeth does mean that they deal reduced damage with their bite attack, birds can be far more accurate with their pecking attacks, enabling them to hit weak—
What type of bird? That look like a flamingo or a flamingo related
points or secure grabs on smaller targets, such as the thin hurt box of a snake. Beaks also offer moderate protection, potentially reducing headshot damage and nullifying imprecise counterattacks.
I mean, not really though, because especially when it comes to lions, tigers, cats, they usually try to get you from the back. So, I mean, I guess the feather could kind of stay away, steer them away, because it's kind of look like you got eyes in the back of your head, but at the same time, they could just sneak from you, man.
Beaks also offer some of the best stab type damage in the game, which, when used accurately, can deal massive damage on crit. Beaks are also excellent tools for dealing with parasites. In fact, they're so good that oftentimes other less dexterous players will party up with bird support players in order to have a better matchup against parasites. Feathers are also a unique and powerful trait exclusive to birds that provides excellent cold protection without causing the user to become too over-encumbered to fly. Feathers also offer pretty substantial defense against crush-type attacks, which is especially important to birds because of their hollow—
He got the Smash Bro effect, he got the Overwatch effect, that's crazy.
Hollow bones are another ability meant to synergize with the flying playstyle. Now, a common misconception is that bird bones are hollow in order to reduce equipment load, but actually they're hollow in order to let bird players fill them with air, which grants them a massive boost to their maximum stamina.
True. Birds do do fly from east to west during the winter and the summer, and they be taking forever. I doubt it. I doubt birds fly over the ocean, bro. If they do, man, shout out to you guys. God damn, that's a long ass travel.
Without this, it'd be extremely tough for a bird to fly for any significant period of time. The trade-off, of course, is that a broken bone not only deals serious damage, but also potentially reduces the player's maximum stamina by a huge margin. So a bird player will need all of the blunt damage defense it can get. And speaking of blunt damage...
Damn, so... I mean, I guess our bones is not, what is it, hollow? Because, I don't know. We gained the ability to... I don't know, man.
The bird's lower bone
I don't know what I'm
density
trying to say.
means the bird's own blunt force strikes, like wing attacks, also deal reduced damage. The top tier bird builds are the ones that can best capitalize on the strengths of their class while mitigating potential weaknesses. That about covers the basics, so let's get into the tier list.
Okay. Number 1, Kiwi and Kakapo?
At the bottom of the tier list, we have 2 flightless bird builds, both with essentially...
I don't know if it's from him or from somebody else. I remember these birds, like when they lay eggs, the egg is literally twice their body size, and they can't even fly too.
The same glaring weakness. These are the Kiwi and Kakapo. Kiwis are hilariously part of the same faction as ostriches, emus, and cassowaries. For some reason, they opted to give up the flight ability, but didn't use the extra available skill points to spec into gigantism like the rest of their squad did. The result is a build that can literally only exist on island servers where there is no active mammal player base, aka New Zealand. The Kakapo is a flightless version of the parrot, and although parrots are undoubtedly excellent bird
it looks like it got wings though.
The flightless weakness is too glaring to ignore. Due to invasive species like rats and cats establishing a presence on island servers, both of these flightless bird builds are seeing major
Mom, come pick me up. I'm scared.
declines in their player base, and I would not be surprised if they all ended up switching mains. Flight is just too strong an ability to pass up.
Facts.
Which brings me to the next builds on my tier list.
You could literally go to anywhere, bro.
So I see what these builds were going for. Being giant could potentially make up for the lack of flight.
But at the same time, you're gonna run into freaking elephants, rhinos, hippopotamus, depending on the server you hop onto, freaking cougars, leopards, jaguars. Nah, if you can fly, guess what? You could get away from whatever problem you have. Because guess what? Nobody gonna try to catch you unless unless you're smaller than an eagle or a falcon. Then it's GG's, man. GG's, because they eat birds. They eat birds too. They out here.
But in practice, this didn't quite pan out. While these are technically the strongest birds in terms of base power and defensive stats, for their weight class, they are woefully underpowered. They're one of the few megafauna builds that can be taken down by cheetahs, when they should be able to completely annihilate cheetahs with their powerful claws. Their huge weak point presents a lot of opportunity for counterattack too, so if they ever get too bold, they're setting themselves up for
Yo, look at how the elephant grabbed him by the neck, bro.
loss. Lastly, the fact that they are forced to nest on the ground forces them into an even more vulnerable position.
Yep. And now you got to defend that against opponents that you probably can't even beat.
Than most birds, as ratite eggs are extremely valuable as loot. Objective defense is not an easy task even for high-tier builds, so for ostriches, emus, and cassowaries, this is a huge hurdle.
Damn. Hummingbird.
Next on the tier list, we have the hummingbird.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I would not want to be a hummingbird. Yes, they cute, but they literally crackheads. They are literally the crackhead birds of the nature system, bro. Because they can't live without sugar, bro. They cannot live without sugar or nectar, whatever you want to call it. Because if they go without it, bro, it's GG's. Their heart, you're gonna stop because they need all that energy.
This build spec purely into mobility and just about nothing else, and as a result is the only bird build with full 360-degree movement, similar to a dragonfly. This, combined with its extremely small size, enables the hummingbird to very quickly change direction mid-flight, allowing it to easily dodge attacks and fly around obstacles.
Alright, come on, give me the weaknesses, man. Give me the weaknesses.
More importantly, it allows the hummingbird to access nectar, which is an extremely valuable source of energy that's normally inaccessible to birds, since birds are usually too heavy to land on flowers and not agile enough to access nectar mid-flight. This all sounds great, but the hummingbird also has 2 very serious weaknesses.
Stamina.
The first is pretty obvious. They have no combat prowess at all, and any attack they fail to dodge will send them right back to the character select screen.
Oh, damn.
But in addition to that, the insane energy cost of their flight ability, combined with their total lack of fat storage, means hummingbirds will run out of stamina very quickly if they can't constantly find food.
Yeah, that's a bad
To me, this
build,
is a high-risk, high-reward
build.
strategy where the risk far outweighs the reward.
Definitely.
So I have to place them in F tier.
Alright, next to pigeon. Me personally, I would not want to be a pigeon, but are pigeons smart? That's the question. Are pigeons smart? Yes, they were used to be a carrier, carrier of messages, but I feel like it was more of a training, more of a discipline than an actual mental decision that they, I don't know, man.
At the bottom of D tier, we
It's
have
like you fucking programmed them to do that and then they learned
pigeon.
it. That's it.
The pigeon build doesn't really have
I
any
guess
critical
they
flaws,
kinda
but they're
somewhat
held back by
intelligent.
mediocre stats. In particular, the pigeon is sorely lacking in any combat-focused stat, like power or defense.
Damn, how you, I mean, snapping turtles are not to play with. I ain't gonna lie. They're not to play with, but still, bro, you see this man coming out the water and you still got caught?
They do best in cities where their excellent navigation ability grants them an extra bit of safety by nesting among high-rises in loot-rich locations. But even in cities, pigeon players tend to be the main source of XP for higher-tier.
Damn, bro, yo, that Falcon got no chill. And why is the pigeon just standing there?
Plus, if you're just looking to play a bird build that's good at looting cities, there are better options available anyway.
The seagull.
The peacock build is another generally understated build, with high HP but little else to rely on. It does, however, have one of the highest intimidation proficiency bonuses in the game, gaining a massive buff to all intimidation checks when its Eye Spot Feather ability is activated. As impressive as this ability is, the peacock's actual attacks do very little damage, so any player able to resist being frightened will have a pretty easy
Yeah, how you get bullied by a
win.
turkey, bro? We be eating this nigga for Thanksgiving, son.
The peacock's diamatic display also blocks vision behind
Caught him lacking. Caught him lacking. He caught them
itself,
lacking.
making a stealth approach by a third-party attacker extremely easy. And while they can escape by flying, the feathers of a peacock are so heavy that getting airborne takes a bit longer than most birds, which can be the difference between dodging or dying when under attack.
That line is on his... That
The
line
flamingo
on
is a bit of an AFK class. Very minimal skill is actually required to pilot this build.
Oh, so you're talking about those people that be camping in corners. I got you. They just be camping in corners or playing Fortnite. They just be camping, wait for the last 2-3 people and try to hopefully get a kill, man.
They opted to spec into the filter feeding ability.
Don't get me, I used to be one of those people too, so I'm not judging. I used to be one of those people too.
Meaning all they really need to do to gain experience and progress their character is pick a random spot in the lake bed and start digging around with their beak, scoring free wins against things like snails and shrimp. However, when faced with a challenge from any player anywhere near its size, this build totally falls apart. They rely on water to impede the anywhere.
What the hell is that? Is that what is it?
Near its size.
Scavenger. It's a scavenger bird. I forgot the name. It's in the.
This build totally falls apart. They rely on water to impede the approach of predators in order to give them time to escape when attacked. However, this doesn't always work. Their pathetic defensive stats mean they go down in 1 or 2 hits, and their slow flight startup means that oftentimes players will have time to rush them down even when they're in the water. This is an easy build to rack up a bunch of experience with, but also a very easy build to defeat if you know their weaknesses.
Damn. Chicken?
The humble chicken. Often compared to the T-Rex to exemplify.
I don't lie, bro. I don't know why the chicken is not in the F tier, but hey, because the way we be griefing these dudes, especially the human build in general.
How far the dinosaur faction has fallen. While I disagree with the implication, I don't disagree that chickens are indeed a low-tier build. While they aren't anywhere near as totally helpless as the kiwi or kakapo, they're still a barely average statted bird that lacks the ability to fly for any extended distance. They can certainly hold their own against most similarly sized opponents.
Ooh, look at him dance though. Hold on.
They can certainly statted bird that lacks the ability to fly for any extended distance. They can certainly hold their own against most similarly sized opponents, but with poor escape options and no unique abilities, this build faces an uphill battle against most opponents.
Damn.
Well, okay, I shouldn't say no unique abilities. But to be honest, their fast respawn rate kinda backfired on them due to humans using the factory farming strategy.
Yeah. That was...
Next in C tier we
the
have
Vulture.
the Vulture build,
That was the name
the
I was
tankiest
looking for.
variant of the Raptor subclass. A good tank build needs to be able to accomplish two things. The first is area denial, which Vultures do quite well. A few of them can easily lock down a carcass, one of the most contested points of interest you'll ever see on the map. They can do this because of their large size and acidic projectile attack. The other thing a tank must be good at is shrugging off hits, and this is where Vultures fall short.
Oh, hold on.
Their thick feathers easily shield them completely from smaller attacks, but because of their hollow bones, blunt force can easily crush their defenses and take them down in only a hit or two.
Why are you being like that though? You got a whole carcass over there that you probably already killed. Come on, he was just trying to get some food to eat, man. Bring it to the family, bring it to his son, his kid. And you are why, bro? Don't get me wrong, they're not the best, the cutest of the animals in the world, but come on, man.
So while they can defend a carcass from hordes of smaller scavengers, they don't have much counterplay towards bigger, more aggressive.
Yo, the crow's like, let me get a piece,
brawlers.
The command post is now under hostile control.
The Woodpecker build spent the bulk of their evolution points optimizing and perfecting.
I think that's a garbage build, me
both in
personally.
power and efficiency, with one goal in mind: to be able to hit insect players through cover. Burrowing is one of the safest, most effective ways insect players can avoid combat. But the Woodpecker absolutely demolishes this strategy. One of the main advantages of this strategy is that having a powerful beak that's highly effective at drilling through wood also just means you've got a super sharp beak that's highly effective as a general purpose weapon. One of the main disadvantages of this strategy is that pecking at wood gives the Woodpecker's location away, alerting more powerful predators to its presence while it's in the middle of pecking and is distracted. One particular Woodpecker build, the Toucan, opted to spec into more bulk and an even more powerful beak, which, while less useful for attacking insects through the wood, is still extremely powerful for PvP. All in all, interesting strategy. By no means flawless, but definitely has some solid
I thought he got
strengths.
taken down by that small bird. Penguins.
So I know I've been pretty hard on flightless birds up until now, so you might be surprised to see me rate penguins as upper mid-tier rather than low tier.
I watch Happy Feet. I don't think they're that bad of a build.
The difference is, penguins actually swapped out their wings for an arguably equally viable alternative, flippers, which essentially allow them to fly through the water with incredible agility. This gives them a downright broken matchup against fish. However, this strategy is pretty much only viable on servers where there are no land-based predators that penguins would still need to worry about. So if for whatever reason a few polar bears ever spawn in the Antarctic server, it's kind of game over for that entire build. The predators...
Wait, are they not in the same? Are they not in the same location? I could have sworn polar bears and penguins are technically in the same location. But I guess it makes sense they're not, because that's why I guess polar bears hunt, what is it, seals?
They have to contend with in the water are even more dangerous.
Oh damn, yep, seals caught
and while their agility does help them down.
Wait, hold on, so how is polar bears hunt seals and seals hunt penguins, but yet they're not in the same location? I'm confused.
Dodge attacks, ultimately it's still a totally one-sided matchup. Their strategy is pretty cool and actually fairly dominant due to limited competition. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the entire penguin player base collapse if the devs ever add new DLC in the form of an Antarctic land predator, or even if they just buff the land mobility of the leopard seal. Still, top of C tier is a respectable position for a flightless bird.
Okay. Goose.
At the bottom of B tier we have the goose. I've got an entire video dedicated to the goose build, but in short, the goose has solid base stats, including above average hit points. However, its abysmal power stat leads it to rely heavily on intimidation to secure territory. This can be unbelievably effective at times, and it's not uncommon to see top-tier predators flee an encounter that they easily could have won. Still, the obvious flaw in this strategy is that if the goose's opponent resists being frightened, the goose will be wide open to a punish encounter that if the goose is...
that horse was just minding his business, bro. He's like, why are you bothering me?
The opponent resists frightened, the goose will be wide open to a punish.
Damn. Whoa. What just happened? Did I get hit 4 times, man? I think I was being jumped, bro. Yo.
Counterattack. In
He's
addition,
seen
the goose's weak spot
stars.
is easily exploitable by intelligent players, so careless aggression tends to be the goose's
Dang.
biggest strength and biggest weakness at the same time. All in all, still a surprisingly effective strategy.
Heron.
The Heron build put a huge amount of evolution points into maxing out the puncture damage it can deal with its beak, and it did so to great success. Herons have one of the highest damage pecks of any bird, and frequently one-hit their target.
That right there makes sense. It looked like he poked, but wow, it
Even
looked
those
like
with scale armor, like large fish and juvenile crocodiles.
it's not really puncturing. It's more like catching. More like a quick speed strike.
The effectiveness of their piercing attack is amplified by their long neck, which gives their attacks a
Look at the
deceptively
wind
long
up. Look at the wind up.
range, giving their strikes an almost cobra-like flash to them. They have downright oppressive matchups against fish, amphibians, and all other small aquatic builds.
Damn.
One vulnerability they do have is that their flight ability has a lot of startup, making it a bit less reliable as an escape option if they do happen to get ambushed.
Oh damn.
Still, it's certainly not terrible.
Yo, Eagles are dope. Bro, Eagles got no
Another
chill,
weak-
bro. He was just trying to run away.
This is that their long neck
ran the
presents a
water
bit of a
away.
weak point.
I think I've seen this clip before, right? He was taunting the... Is that a Falcon? He was taunting the Falcon, and that nigga grabbed him by the neck. Like, yeah, you thought he
Making
was
lunging forward with repeated pecking attacks a bit risky if you get too predictable about it. Good
So he was
players will be
catching?
able to punish
Where
careless
is it?
lunges quite
Right
hard.
there. Bro,
In high B tier, we have the Falcon,
I think that's a small Falcon,
raptor
but yeah.
a build that opts to defeat its
The reason I
opponents
like
using
them is the Falcon
speed and
punch,
superior
bro.
maneuvering rather than actual power.
That should
Falcons
be
actually
hitting you
have a
out
below
of
average
nowhere.
power stat for a raptor, and don't deal particularly high damage in close combat.
Mm-hmm.
Their talons are pretty small compared to hawks, owls, and eagles, and so instead of slashing and stabbing with their
Damn.
claws, falcons actually punch with their feet to disorient or concuss their target, and then finish the fight with their more
Sheesh, bro. That goose did not see that coming.
powerful beak.
That goose
In the
was-
right situation,
bro, he did
this
not-
can deal
well, all I know, he didn't see it
absolutely
coming.
massive damage,
He could even catch them in the
enough
air.
to one-shot a mid-sized target at full HP. The drawback of this strategy is that falcons can only dish out high damage when they have the time to build up speed.
I mean, true, but the thing is, though, yes, it takes a long time to build, but usually they already find their target, they already know who they're aiming for, and then they go for the strike.
First, this makes the falcon a pretty poor defender for objective game modes, and means the falcon
Damn,
can struggle to win
bro.
fights if its first attack
Why
doesn't connect,
bully that man like
as
that? He
follow-up
just
attacks
snatched
will likely
his
not
kid.
have the same force built up as the first. Still, the burst damage potential of this build cannot be ignored,
Mm-hmm.
so it earns its spot in high B tier.
Sheesh.
This might
Songbird.
seem like an odd inclusion to cap off B tier, but songbirds are a highly efficient build for their size, and do deserve recognition on this tier list.
Okay.
This is a huge group, including finches, starlings, sparrows, wrens, and birds of paradise. And while some are flashier than others, they all have relatively similar stats, with extremely high agility
I
being
don't know,
a core
man.
stat.
I don't know
Unlike
if they
many
that
of the
good,
builds
man.
lower on the tier list that have difficulty getting themselves air
I don't know how that build ended up being way top tier than a fucking Falcon, but hey man, explain to me on how they made it past a Falcon.
airborne quickly.
Let me know.
Songbirds have extremely low startup on their flight move, allowing them to reposition themselves easily and quickly. This makes their approach very difficult to
Hold on, why is he finding praying mantis?
punish, making songbirds excellent at chipping away at defensive players, and makes them great at stealing loot from slower builds.
Yoink.
Their safety in numbers strategy can actually be somewhat intimidating and disorienting too, making it rather difficult to attack a party of songbirds mid-flight. While they certainly aren't invincible,
moment
making it
there-
rather difficult to attack a party of songbirds mid-flight. While they
Kinda
certainly
look like
aren't
a
invincible,
giant
having one of the
bird.
lower
Oh.
HP stats among
Bang.
birds, they're an often overlooked but undoubtedly successful bird build. At the bottom of A tier, we have the Swan. The Swan is essentially a goose that has the power stat to actually back up its attempts to intimidate. The wing attacks that most bird players use do very little damage and aren't very useful aside from pushing other players around. The Swan's wing attack can break bones and concuss foes, because
he
of others around. The
Who did he put to
Swan's wing
sleep?
attack can break
Damn. Yeah, he put
bones
that man
and
to
concuss
sleep.
foes. Because of this, swans are one of the best builds at controlling important
Swan
points of
versus
interest,
goose.
as their hyper-aggressive
wins?
playstyle can result in huge territory gains. Of course, they do have the same weaknesses as geese, so targeting the swan's neck with an attack can defuse the threat. But this is a bit riskier of a play against a swan than against a goose. All around, sturdy defender.
I mean, to be honest with you, if the human build really wanted to take care of a swan, I'm pretty sure they could take care of a swan.
Definitely A tier.
Ow.
Next in A tier we have the Owl, the avian faction's premier stealth assassin build. It owes this reputation to its special ability, which allows it to fly completely silently. This makes the Owl's strikes very difficult to defend against.
Damn, look at him. Oh, you guys can't see him. But right there, look at him, right? Unaware of his surrounding, unaware of what about to happen.
As players just about never see them coming.
Damn.
While not as stacked in the power department as their daytime counterparts, Owls do have quite solid base stats. While they aren't likely to one-shot high HP targets, they do have enough force behind their attacks to be able to defend themselves and their territory, even from powerful enemies. In addition to granting the Owl the silent flight,
they are lucky wolves can't fly, because wolves are the one enemy you probably do not want to, anger. And also a salamander, right? Because these guys will chase you until you are tired, until you're trying to take a break, and then trying to, bro.
The Owl's thick, bushy feathers offer additional defense against attacks, enabling it to stand its ground in important objective defense scenarios. Interestingly, the silent flight perk did come at the cost of the waterproof ability that most bird feathers have, meaning that falling into the water or getting caught in a rainstorm can actually disable the Owl's flight ability. Pretty unique weakness, and certainly something that can be played around.
Yeah, make a big ass nest, cover yourself from the rain. Like, come on.
But interesting nonetheless.
Hawks.
In the middle of A tier, we have the Eagles and Hawks. Hawks and Eagles follow the same basic strategy, both having tailored their builds to focus on dealing maximum damage with their talons.
You imagine a Hawk use the same strategy as a Falcon? The punch, and then not only that, once you take, they could also do that too, grab the enemy by the...
Hawks are the smaller variants of this group, and because of this they are far more agile. While not as powerful as eagles, their agility enables them to weave through cover better than most birds of prey. This makes them well suited for rushing down players, both in open terrain and in dense, difficult to navigate terrain like forests. Eagles, in contrast, are much more powerful, but their larger size and wider wingspan prevents them from entering dense forests.
Oh, that's grimy. That's grimy.
In open prairies and mountains, eagles can be incredibly effective, dealing absolutely
grimy,
brutal damage with their enormous dagger-like talons. Enough to take down players in higher weight classes without even requiring team strategies. These are without a doubt some of the strongest bird builds in the game for PvP.
I'm surprised they're not in the S tier.
And have been for quite some time.
Alright, let me know what's the S tier looking like. Pelicans.
At the top of A tier, we have the grappler tank hybrid, the Pelican. The Pelican's main strength is its throat pouch. Grappling enemy players can be a highly
you might as well call them the throat goat.
Effective takedown strategy, but birds struggle with this since they can't use their wings to grab, and since their beaks aren't always the most reliable grappling weapons, sometimes leading to targets escaping. The Pelican's grapple is, in contrast, almost totally inescapable, and works on targets much larger than you might think. While this attack style is most effective against fish, it's quite powerful against other bird, rodent, and amphibian players, although it does have its limitations. This, combined with Pelican's overall bulk, makes it one of the most difficult birds to take down in single combat, and enables it to stand its ground against even top tiers like canines.
Come on. Dogs, canine, you should put them, pelicans against a wolf, bro, because dogs do not have the confidence to withstand, the intimidation skill, to be honest with you.
So those of you
unless you train them to be protective dogs, and that's a different story.
Who follow the channel for a while can probably guess what the top tier birds are going to be. If you can't, that's probably a good indication that you should be subscribed.
I mean, I am.
Those of you wishing the devs could unban the Velociraptor build, look no further than the Secretary bird, as it has basically all the same awesome abilities and more. Hunting on foot and in pairs, they prove time and time again that striking from the sky is overrated.
Roaches.
They can easily defeat other high-tier builds, such as the Cobra and Mongoose.
Oh! So that's where the TikTok dance
with their high damage kicks. Their stomp move has extremely high accuracy, allowing Secretary Bird players to score game-ending headshots with ease. And they do all this without completely sacrificing their flight ability. If they ever find themselves outmatched, which only ever happens against builds in
Wait, they big ass and they could also fly? Yeah.
higher weight classes, they can still retreat to the sky or treetops. The fact that this strategy works in Africa, one of the most unforgiving servers of all time, is proof enough to me that this is the optimal raptor. These last two builds are about equally matched, both opting for the same specialization, intelligence. Parrots are an extremely unique build with several powerful abilities. Not the
I mean, I understand why the last bird was in the S tier, but a parrot though? Let's see.
least of which is their sonic shriek, which can drive away just about any player who invaded their territory, especially when employed by a coordinated team. In addition, due to their prehensile beak, parrots have the highest dexterity of any bird, putting them among the best users of the tool use ability. And with an extremely high lifespan, if there was any build that could replace humans if humans ever get their intelligence nerfed,
to be honest with you, I thought it would be like probably apes that could replace us.
I'd bet on the parrot. I made an entire video on parrots if you're interested, but when it comes to intelligence, there's one avian build that arguably outclasses them.
Which one? Yep, the crows.
Corvids, such as magpies, crows, and ravens.
I'm still kind of surprised that the Secretary Bird is not the highest of tiers, to be honest with you.
Also opt for a high intelligence playstyle, but with a far more expansive social aspect to it. While plenty of bird builds use cooperative team strats, the best Corvids operate using a network effect.
Okay, I think I get it, right? The Secretary Bird, when it comes to an individuality build, is pretty good. But when it comes to team base, probably not so good. Compared to the parrots and the crows, I get it.
Where knowledge is shared with a huge amount of players over vast distances. This knowledge can include useful points of interest, or even blacklists of dangerous areas or players to avoid. But even individually, Corvids have a lot going for them. With significantly higher stealth than parrots, Corvids are much better at staying out of conflict. Their pointy beaks, while not as useful for tool use, are a much better combat tool for dealing quick damage. It's also more useful for pressuring and poking opponents, or for provoking larger players into battle, so that they can reap the benefits of the aftermath.
What benefits?
Corvids are one of the best builds at making use of human-made items, and quickly figure out ways of abusing the system to score quick loot. All in all, Corvids are basically what you'd get if you gave monkeys wings. Easily a top-tier build. So there you have it, the complete bird tier list.
To be honest with you, I was kind of shocked. Eagles and Falcons. Well, they did explain why the Falcons are. I understand. I'm surprised the Hawk wasn't up there. But when you got to see the top tier, especially this one right here, bro, you big ass, almost not the same size of an ostrich, but technically, I would say half the size. And you can still fly? That's kind of OP. That's kind of OP, man. But anyways, man, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below for what you want me to add to next for more amazing content like this, man. And we are out.